Hey people, Inter here, 3v3, Fend Unlock, blue team. Zeus is your father, is a brother captain, a durable hero, walking through objects cannot be suppressed, with powerful offense and support, fighting in melee, alongside TL the Boneless as an Apothecary, support hero fighting in melee combat by default, begins with the heal and a passive health regeneration aura. Got one of the Imperial Fist schemes, I think it's the elite scheme. Rounding off this team here is Terry as a Force Commander. Very strong offense, fighting in melee combat, can also tank, disrupt and support. Looks like the Salamander's elite scheme that's been recolored. All fancy like. Red team, Hugen is a Chaos Sorcerer. Offensive and disruptive hero with powerful battlefield manipulation and control. Night Lord's elite scheme goes into tangle with a brother captain. Alongside Venjitron as a Warp Spider Exarch, a teleporting hero fighting in ranged combat, great for capping and harassing, some powerful control. And rounding off the teams, FrezeDEF is a Lord General fighting in ranged combat, begins with a retinue of Stormtroopers, really strong defense and support, can also add to the retinue. Force Commander running amok amongst some guardsmen. Special attack misses there though. Lord General goes to melee the scouts. They're still able to fire because they are performing a capping action, so they don't fight back in melee. Should have just shot them, I think. Lucky to only drop one model there, perhaps. Tactical Marines chasing around guardsmen, because guardsmen don't like to melee anything. Double tax for Terry. What do we got? Double CSM for Hugen. These guys flee, dropping a model. Oh, they have Eternal War already. That is very quick purchase on Eternal War. Buffing their damage by 20%. Sorcerer alongside some Howling Banshees. Looks like... Is this Harlequins? Yeah, looks like Harlequins that's been recolored. Maybe, perhaps. Early 2-to-1 cap for the red team. Sentinel does not have ground pound. That would be one way to shut down that Force Commander for a bit. Oh, these guys lost 2 models here. That's 150 requisition to reinforce those fellas. It's a decent chunk early on. Shotgun scouts in the mid for Boneless. Power bashing Lord General over here. I think they're going to get a full bash, you know. Force Commander now has the Chainsword and Storm Shield. Pretty awesome piece of war gear. Aerial effect, damage resistance buff to ranged fire. Gives himself some damage resistance passively as well, and some more hit points. But he does lose his sidearm, which does do quite a lot of work for a Force Commander. Energy burst there to slow down those Chaos Space Marines. Why do they even have energy? They don't use it, do they? The Slaughter cost energy now. Strike Squad coming into melee with the CSM. Tomes of Titan are in. On only one of them though. Heretics. Or if they were a bit more live to that, I think they could have got the Heretics down. But alas, they get away. Where's that Sorcerer? Looks like Robes of Torment will do some work in tier 2 here. These fellas need to be very careful. Maybe come back to the garrison for some assistance. They drop a model. Warp Spider Exarch does have the heavy gauge Death Spinner. Heavy gauge has been used, perhaps 473 to 473. There we go. Evens up the VPs. CSM dropping 2 models here, keeping them in play a bit too long here, Hugen. Typically early on you want to preserve your units, or rather your individual models, over preserving points. Except maybe if it's your power that you need to like cap and rebuild and repurchase and stuff. But I wouldn't throw away a couple of CSM to preserve a VP, for example, this early on. Just let them decap it. That's fine. Rangers on the field for Venjitron. Start off with these debuffing pistols these days. But here comes the Pathfinder gear. We'll give them the long rifles that they're famous for. Catachan Devils on the field now for FrezeDEF. Oh, Terry lost their scouts. sure where, not sure how, but I'm sure lasguns had something to do with it. Sentinel on the field for FrezeDEF. With the ground pound, I should say. So they did get it in before tier 2. Going in for an aggressive stomp here. A really good stomp on all the Marines and the Force Commander. Some repairs going in. Lord General being used in melee again, which I think is a pretty good shout. Don't want those bolt guns firing, and there's the fend up, of course. The Catechins should also be in melee here with their power melee damage. Here we go. They're forcing into melee combats. Derek and Nigel are back up with their medical sergeant there. There's the medical sergeant heal on the Catechins. They got a model of both of them, and the first one was lucky to only lose one, I think. Up in the northwest, CSM are the wrong side of those strike squad there. Energy burst the heretics. Got their grenade launchers, so they really don't want to get into melee with anything, especially a brother captain that can pop the other hammer for splash damage. They're just kind of getting bullied, double CSM. Did not get Havocs or Raptors or melee heretics. Maybe double melee heretics could have done some work with their aspiring champions. And Coruscate and Flame or something. Sorcerer's down. Maybe they're just banking on a quick tier 2. There is the tier 2. Zeus's strat squad getting pretty low. Taking some Eldar fire. Oh, Apothecary's fallen over. It's got an assault squad though. Jump troops that disrupt when they land. Quite tough. 400 hit points per model. Great synergy, of course, with an Apothecary. They can be very aggressive, disrupting and initiating fights and then get healed. No scout replacement for Terry, and no stormtrooper replacement for Zeus. Venjitron, are you floating, buddy? You are floating a bit in tier 1 here. Catechins should be going into melee with those assault squad fellas, I think. I mean, they're shotgunning them pretty good. Here we go. Maybe they're doing it now. Nope, it's getting a bit closer. There's another medical sergeant heal going in. The Lord General himself. Oh, he's in there. Didn't see him for a second. Stomp goes off. Assault squad did not drop a model. Tactical Marines probably also don't. They're bashing power again though over there. Apothecary's still down. Leveling up as he twitches on the ground there. Power bashing through the mid of the red team. Sorcerer still down too. Maybe we'll see Lariman's Blessing to get the Force Commander and the Apothecary up. Or the brother captain could get himself a big chunk of XP over there, reviving him. Wreck point here is decapped. Yeah, they're just really struggling to deal with these melee strike squad fellas. Got their tier 2 before Zeus, but couldn't really get anything up, I guess. What are they waiting for? Are they rushing tier 3? I thought they were going to go Blood Crusher and start bullying these strike squad. Zeus has a Rhino on the way already. Okay, they killed 2 of them. But they did lose 2 CSM as well. Back towards the mid. Red team are massing. Stomp only hit one of those assault squad after they jump in. Crack and bolts popped on those tacks, maybe going for the Sentinel earlier on. It's a Chaos Dreadnought for Hugen. Perhaps Mark of Khorne that can be teleported around and stuff. Sorcerer coming through the mid now. That smoke grenade is a Catechin Devil defensive smoke grenade there. Gen's replaced. But the Marine players on the blue team getting pushed back quite a lot. Maybe they should be a bit more aggressive here, the red team. Power's sitting there. Warp Spider could maybe teleport in and decap it and harass things as they do so. Shrines going up in the mid from the Sorcerer. There's the Rhino, no upgrade on it yet. And the Dreadnought is in. What are they going to do on it? They might keep autocannon to try and get the Rhino down, maybe. I mean, it's a good weapon, either way. Nemesis Demon Hammer in for the brother captain. Typically, you'd see this against an opponent that is bringing melee to you rather than having to chase around the CSM. They tried to use it on a Dreadnought, which isn't going to work. Dreadnought just meleeed that brother captain away. Strike Squad now have a Justicar kicking off in the mid. Is it? Looks like it is. Heretics have to flee. Doom bolts flying out of those shrines. They also grant a 10% damage resistance buff to your units only. So none of this Eldar stuff is getting affected by it. And I believe that stacks up per shrine. Rhino now has the las cannon turret to try and fight that Dreadnought. 379, 399 is still quite close on the VPs. Got some Stern Guard veterans here. And they're using Vengeance rounds. And they really shouldn't be using Vengeance rounds. Unless they were trying to go after the Falcon or something. Against the Sentinel they should be using Kraken bolts. Because it's heavy infantry. And against the Guardsmen and Catachins and stuff they should be using Hellfire. Meanwhile, Zeus is your father is taking the mid. With some Rhino support you can reinforce off this thing as well. Wasn't always the case, of course. Used to be a tier 1 unit, that Rhino, which was odd. But interesting. Whirlwind's almost down. Looks like it's made it far enough away. Sanguine Chainsword in play for the Apothecary. Healing on hit. Terry does replace their scouts now because they need some repair support. Sentinel backing off as it should. Crack shot on the Warp Spider himself here. And we've got some actual Warp Spiders in. Getting jumped. Assault Squad's pretty low though. Has the cannon and some friendly fire. They dropped 2 models there. 2-to-1 cap for blue team. Hasn't really been that much pressure on the natural VPs. Maybe that's what Zeus should have done. They rotated mid instead. I mean, the mid was very red, but maybe they should have pushed the natural and tried to drag Venjitron over maybe. Heretics flee again. Remarkably, they're still going though. Dreadnought's taking a bunch of damage. Las Cannon's getting shots in, but the Rhino is also quite low. I think they may get the Dreadnought here though. The Rhino just has to chase a bit. Other guys should focus the CSM. CSM standing in play too long again, and the Dreadnought goes down. Been a rough match so far for Hugen. Kassakin on the field for FrezeDEF. Here comes some Bloodletters. Now that's a good choice. They are going to mess up the strat squad. Although these guys are both level 3 with Justicars. And they've got that hammer. Double the mark of Zinch CSM though. The Bloodletters can hold them in place. CSM can do a bunch of damage. There's a crack shot on the Warp Spiders now. More damage and more range. Global ability of the Warp Spider Exarch. Doom bolts from downtown almost took out those strat squad completely. They were trying to reinforce off the Rhino, which is why they were trying to stay in play. This is too much for Boneless to deal with, I think. The Sword Squad are going to get badly decimated. Here comes a little flank assist from Terry. Apothecary shows up a bit late, but does heal his Marines. Big demonic shield there from Hugen. That's really well placed. That's benefiting a whole bunch of stuff in there. Attacks are going to wipe. That was really sloppy from Terry. They've got tons of resources. They're floating a huge amount. There's the tier 3. They could get Terminators up pretty quickly here once they get to tier 3. Maybe immediately, actually. Bloodletters in play for Hugen. Power melee demons that can teleport and also shift out of reality to avoid damage, which is quite handy. In the grim darkness of the far future, those guys are what? Going for the whirlwind? No, they're going for the scouts, which is a weird target. But it's a target. Strat Squad got melted there. What about you fellas? Just a massive amount of bodies from the red team in the mid. Need to go around. The VP is open. Who's this? Some scouts just hanging out in the northwest where there's nothing. Maybe they're waiting to go after the VP, and they've just been too busy. Zeus is down to a single unit now. More strike squad on the way in tier 3. Boneless goes tier 3. Blue team are reeling a huge amount. I don't know how they can even make a dent now. Terminators and Land Raiders maybe is how they do it. And Lukes as well. So Terry is in tier 3. They have the resources for Terminators. Is that Terminators? That's an Orbital. But that's an Orbital from Zeus, I think. Here are the Terminators of Terry. They've gone for the Storm Bolters and Power Fists. Down goes the Whirlwind. 287 to 380. I guess it's just too much stuff to shoot at Assault Terminators at the moment. At least the other Terminators could trade with them from range, and they trade quite favorably against most things. Aside from maybe the Mark of Zeus, Chaos Space Marines, and if the Bloodletters can get in there. Shrine's going down. Blue team taking the mid for now. Need to try and stabilize on it a bit. And the scouts did their job and took the VP here. Look at this. Got a double cap all of a sudden. Just as I said, I don't know how they're going to make a dent. They push through and get a triple cap, looks like. Looks like a triple to me. Here comes a Baneblade for FrezeDEF. Tier 3 for Venjitron. Look at the float from Hugen. Could go and probably should go tier 3 Hugen. Kicking off down here. Scouts getting auto-gunned and grenaded. So here's the Falcon. Was that advanced healing? It was advanced healing. Armor of the Apothecary, and that could make a big difference in these big fights to come. And improve medical equipment on the way for more energy and energy regen. There's the advanced healing again. So powerful. But the captain mixing it up, being aggressive. I don't know why they got more strike squads specifically. And not some purgation or purifiers or something. They have some Grey Knight Terminators on the way. Maybe we'll see some Paladins too. The Force Commander with a Sacred Standard again, which is pretty good for these big team fights. So will the Storm Shield defend. Also have Artificer, but they've been pushed off nonetheless. Cyclone Missile Launcher on the Terminators. What about Boneless? Looks like they're saving for a Land Raider here. Could be amazing. All of a sudden, oh, they're going for Plasma Cannon. But all of a sudden you have Space Marine Terminators, Grey Knight Terminators, supported by a Force Commander and an Apothecary. Here comes another Whirlwind for Terry. I mean, I get it. There's a bunch of infantry and you want to disrupt them. So we'll see how it goes. The Baneblade is up. Big old tank with big old guns. Terminators can't do much to it. These guys are carrying power melee force halberds. Are they just called halberds or force halberds? Or are they Nemesis demon halberds or something? I don't know. But they're power melee splash damage. So quite rightly they are going after infantry here. And not the tank. Well, I spoke too soon. They're going after the Baneblade, which is basically a waste of their time. Maybe they thought the infantry was a waste of their time as well because they're reinforcing. But you could go after the Kashyyyk, for example. Here we go. Now they go. Got a bit of support now too. Can the Apothecary come in and heal them? Oh, they're using advanced healing back there. These guys need a single target heal over here. They need some brother captain support as well. He's down. Are they gonna drop? They do. The Terminators drop. That was not great. Maybe they expected more support sooner. 287, 224. Land Raider Redeemer on the way for Boneless. Hugen has some Chaos Terminators, and they're going auto cannon. Venjitron Falcon has been pretty damn effective. Level 2 with the shield up. Dark Flames thrown in, trying to get that plasma cannon out of the air. Oh, if that Doom Bolt's hit, that might have done it. There's that whirlwind being countered though by a flak jacket with incoming. Paladin's in now. Maybe these guys will survive a bit longer than the Terminators did. Imagine if they didn't lose the Terminators. Now they'd have Terminators and Paladins supported by an Apothecary and soon-to-be Land Raider. That would have made a big old difference. Venjitron with an Avatar on the way. 1-1 cap here, 287-213. Red team taking back their natural. So there's the 2-1. What is this? Sneaky scouts. Sneaky scouts. Demonic shield does affect vehicles, right? Doesn't say it doesn't. And I think I see the circle below that falcon there. Did it say 35%? It's a pretty big deal. Pretty good. Stern Guard run. Don't want to mess with bloodletters, but here's the Land Raider Redeemer. This thing's a big deal in team games. You can retreat back to it, which means you can be super aggressive and know you've got somewhere nearby to retreat back to, so you don't concede the map when you do it. And it can heal you with health regen, and you can reinforce from it, of course. Not to mention some pretty damn good weaponry on that thing. A bunch of it's close range, but the captain's back to their feet. There's advanced healing. Can they crack this red nut here, which is a bunch of infantry supported by the Falcon and the Baneblade? Cyclone missile launcher goes in. I feel like they need to get that Falcon down. That should be their target. Rocket run. Pretty decent. Orbital goes in. That could do some friendly fire. They got rocket runned into it there. Yeah, that did some friendly hits for sure. Also got some enemies though. They're not even bothering to retreat away from it, a bunch of guys. Most of the guards when they stayed in play, they can reinforce off that bunker, of course, back there. Avatar of Cain now chasing down the Land Raider. Soaking up damage. Something's trying to decap. What is that? That's the Fool's Commander. They are going to be murdered by the Avatar. They almost got the decap though. Cyclone missile launcher again. Some good hits on the Baneblade. Some rear armor pops on the Falcon as well. Is that guy guarding? Yeah, these guys seem to be guarding the VP. Paladin's getting low. Teleporting back. Yeah, they need to save that teleport for escape. Especially since they're up against the Chaos Sorcerer who can subjugate them. And could use Chains of Torment as well. I guess if he subjugates them, they're just going to use their teleport anyway. Red team are just digging in. Well, they have the VP, 160 to 213. Looks like the Stern Guard are not defending the VP anymore. They are pushing up. Can they beat Marco Zinch CSM, who don't have an aspiring champion? Looks like they're ignoring each other, going for each other's VP. Stern Guard got there first, and they cap fast. Wailing Doom knocks the Terminators off the cap. I think they would have got a decap otherwise. Who's that going down? That's the Strike Squad, I think. Zeus going for a Vortimer Razorback. Only has Paladins now. TL has a Predator tank with las cannon to help hunt down those enemy vehicles. Falcon staying back now though. Bloodletters. Did you kill the... they didn't kill him, but they're getting the VP back. 1-1 again. It's going to be a 2-1. Although, what are these fellas up to? They're trying to fight a tank. Not working out great so far. But they might be able to brute force the decap. It's going to be risky. That las cannon's getting some really good hits on them. Accuracy. 137 to 213 now. Just grinding out this 2-1 cap, the red team. They need to send a bigger force to that other VP, I think, the blue team. Plague Marines now for Hugen. Vortimer is up. There it is on the right of your screen. With a sight cannon mounted on top. Twin linked. Good damage to all targets. Quite fragile though, aren't they? Yeah, 650 hit points isn't a lot. They're quite quick as well though. Looks like red team are now guarding the VP with Cataclysms. It's a good unit to guard with. As they infiltrate. Oh, those Terminators fell over. Those are Terry's Terminators. Should not have let them die there. Where's the Apothecary at? Oh, the Apothecary's down. They're all down. Terry getting some lag. Boneless needs to use Larimer's Blessing here to get his guys up. Paladins. Looks like they're going to be okay-ish. They can reinforce off the Land Raider. Where's the Falcon? I went back to base. Blue team took the mid. Look at that. So Terry had double Terminators, I guess. I didn't even realise. Falcon come in, says Venjitron. I mean, they can reinforce off this thing. But the Falcon means they can reinforce closer to the VP. See something skirting around the edge of the map. Probably scouts because they're moving quite fast. Yep. Noise Marines on the field for Hugen. Maybe we'll see a Blastmaster. I'm not sure what Zeus should get. A Plasma Cannon Dreadnought will probably just get shot down. I'm not sure. Maybe just Conversion Beam is trying to get these vehicles down. Another bunker goes in, perhaps with a repair upgrade this time. How are those scouts doing? Not great. They are dead. Uncapped mid. Force Commander's fallen with the Sacred Standard, which means allies around him will get a massive 40% damage buff. I'm not sure how close you need to be though. Doesn't seem like these guys are benefiting from it yet. Sack missile launcher barrage, not doing a whole lot. Just haven't been able to deal with that Falcon. Oh, this must be a new Falcon. Oh, they must have lost it, and this is a new one. I'm such a dum-dum. Yeah, it is, look. It's after the Avatar. 87 to 199. Paladins just melting. They need to go to the other VP. That's just too much DPS for anything to live. Grey Knight Terminators on the way now for Zeus. Down to 87 VPs. Red team have been very narrow-minded though. They've done so little to go to kind of snuff out the blue team completely. I feel like they could have pushed the power a few times. This power here too. Gone after the VP a bit more. There's an orbital. D cannon up for Venjitron. The new Falcon does have the shield immediately. It probably went down right on the screen here. I just didn't notice. Because it was always in the mid, I think. What is this? Apothecary's giving it a go. With Sanguine Chain Sword. Here come the Stern Guard veterans. Level 4. But the red team moved to defend. And I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. Look at the damage those Catechisms did at level 4. Pretty impressive. Stern Guard's not going to work out, fellas. They got plasma guns. They got all sorts. All sorts of goodness. Do they? I thought I saw. Oh, there's the Kashyyykin with plasma guns. They still haven't got plasma guns up for their double level 4 guardsmen. Surely, give them fellas some plasma guns. Dreadnought on the field. Dark age of technology. And an assault cannon. And Terminators are somewhere inside the Land Raider, maybe. 55-199. It's a slow grind through. They're very content to sit on their 2-to-1 cap. Terry says GG. So they may be trying to concede over there now. But the captain going for Mantle of Terror at the end of the game. Looks like they're not giving up. At least for now. Brother Captain is trying to hit the Bane Blade, which isn't going to work out. But a regular melee damage weapon there. There's a lot of damage, but it's regular melee. There's Battle Rights. Great Knight Terminators, again, shouldn't be going after the Bane Blade, really. Oh, there's Bulwark as well. And now they get subjugated. Which probably means they're done for if they get ordered to go back. Land Raider goes down. Blastmaster pinging shots in. Avatar wailing the doom. Red team are going to see this game out. Zeus has nothing at the end. They held on remarkably long. Red team really could have saw this game out sooner, I think. FrezeDEF with a... I can't select them. Do they have a las cannon? I guess they're in there with a las cannon, maybe. Oh, it's these fellas, maybe. Yeah, must be. There's the game. All three blue heroes down at the end. Level 7 Brother Captain. Level 3 Apothecary. Level 6 Force Commander. The Brother Captain was a bit odd. Getting that tier 3 strat squad was very strange, I felt. Should have been more careful with the Paladins, I guess. They were waiting for support, they didn't get it. But yeah, losing them was sloppy. If they kept them up with everything else that followed, they would have had quite a decent army, the blue team. They would have had Paladins, Terminators, multiple Terminators, and the Land Raider and stuff. Level 7 Sorcerer. That Tome of Subjugation. Level 6 Warp Spider did have anti-gravity end. And level 10 Lord General, buffing everything's range there with a sniper rifle. There you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.